I was in college from 53 to 57. And I had a friend whose father who had a 47-foot wooden New England built schooner, which he used on the Rappahannock River. And I used to like go down with my buddy and sail on his dad's sailboat, because I love sailboats. And at one point, it was a hot summer day, and he was sitting in the cockpit of his sailboat. And to keep the cabin cool, he had a window unit in the bulkhead of the cabin. And the back side of the window unit was blowing hot air on his cocktail table and dripping rust and condensate water on his teak deck. He was not happy with the program, but the cabin was cool. So I said, Mr. Pembroke, I'm a second-year engineering student, and I'm specializing in air conditioning refrigeration, and by that time I knew everything there was to know about air conditioning. I can build you a unit that won't blow hot air on your cocktail table and won't drip condensate on your deck. So he said, fine, if you can do that, then do something. So I will cobble it together, and all you need to do is pay me for the parts. So I went to the local air conditioning refrigeration suppliers and purchased an air handling unit and a compressor and the other components that I needed. And also a Sendur heat exchanger like you use on engines for cooling the engine water or seawater. So I bought one of those condensers and got cobbled together a thermostat and some switches and put together a unit where the compressor, condenser, and those components went in his engine room at a site instead of hanging to his bulkhead. And then I took the air handling unit, which was a fan coil unit, and mounted it in the upper reaches of his cabin, and hooked up the electrical stuff and put a water pump in the boat to pump the water through the condenser. And went down and installed it on his boat, turned it on, and it worked like a champ. But I had a grand plan. I wanted to design and manufacture and market 8 accessory products for pleasure boats. Water heaters and battery chargers and trim tabs and air conditioners and whatever. So I had 8 products in mind. And I decided to start with air conditioning. And then I thought the next product I would do would be a battery charger. And I was going to do a new product every 2 years for 16 years. And then I would be 40, because I started when I was 24. 16 years, I'd be 40. And then I was going to spend 4 years wrapping the 8 products up as a nice package and sell the whole thing at age 44. And buy an island in the Pacific and sit on the beach or swing in my hammock and have me on a monkey and some coconuts and stuff. And that's where I would spend the rest of my life. So that was my plan. I bought a house, and I bought it because it had a little garage in the back. So I started with this marine air conditioning. So I had to form a company. The company name was Marine Development Corporation. I was going to develop marine products. So MDC, Marine Development Corporation. And the first product was going to be air conditioning, and I needed a trade name for the air conditioning. A friend of mine said, call it Cruisair. It sounds like boating, and your name, Cruisair. But I was not so vain as to call it Crewassar, so I named it Cruisar. Sounds the same, but it's spelled more in accord with both. So it was Cruisair, Cruisar. And and that was going to be the first product. I was going to spend 2 years to perfect that one. Then I was going to build a battery charger. And I was going to call it battery charger Centron. I'll get to that later. So I did the air conditioning, and that's how it started. And called it Cruisair. Did it in Richmond, Virginia. And that's where I was born and raised. That's where I live. That's where I live now. That's where I'm going to stay. And never became a boat builder. So Cruisair worked well. And it grew rapidly, and I ran it 24/7. So then I decided I needed to go to a boat show. So this was 1961 coming up now. So I graduated in 57, went in the Army for 6 months active duty with the reserves, started Honeywell in the beginning of 59, started building Cruisairs in 60, and by 61, January 61, I had a production prototype I could take to the boat show in New York. But I didn't have any money for a booth, and so I took one of my production prototypes up to New York and got a room in the Henry Hudson Hotel, Fleabag Hotel across the street from the Lincoln Center, the old convention center, Lincoln Square, right there. And I took the condensing unit, which goes in the engine room of the boat, and you pump water through it. I put it in the bathtub, and I put the pump in the bathtub. I put the unit on the toilet, and hooked up the hoses. Turned the pump on, and the condensing unit is there. Then I ran the copper tubes, refrigerant lines, which go to the air handling unit, which is up in the cabin. I put that on the table beside the bed and ran the copper tube under the door and charged it all up with refrigerant and plugged it into the wall. And I went over to the boat show and I collared boat builders. I didn't know any of them from Adam. I heard of a few of them working for Ancaro, but I never got to any boat shows. That company failed, by the way. After I left, the company failed. So, anyway, I collared the guys from Pacemaker. They were one of the leading yacht builders, Pacemaker, Egg Harbor, those New Jersey guys building sport fishing boats. So, I collared Jack Leake, who was Old Man Leake's son. Old Man Leake owned Pacemaker, which interestingly started out as Leake Yachts, because that was his name. His name was Leake. And then he got to selling a few yachts, and his PR people suggested he change the name to something other than Leake Yachts, so they changed the name to Pacemaker. So I collared Jack Leake. He was the oldest of the two brothers, Jack and Don. And the old man wasn't involved at the time. So I took him over to the Henry Hudson Hotel in my room, showed him the condensing unit sitting on the toilet, showed him the river, which was the bathtub and the pump, and showed him the air handling unit in a nice little mahogany cabinet sitting on the table beside the bed, and told him to turn on the switch. So he turned the switch to cool. These were cooling-only units at the time. And it was very quiet because the compressor and the pump all in the bathroom. So just the fan blew and the cold air came out. It was only about yay big. So he said, we need one or two for every boat we build. So first you want to build a bigger one. No, you use multiple small ones. Because there's not enough electricity at docks to run a big air conditioner. So you're better off to have 3 little ones. And if you can't run all 3, you can at least run the one in the big one. So you want to buy multiple small units. Of course, today the docks are wired big time. That was not the case then. So he ordered a unit, and I cobbled it together, and I shipped it to him, and that boat hit the sport fishing circuit at Palm Beach in the spring of that year. So a lot of people saw it, and Robovich had already seen it. So it kind of took off at that point, and it never looked back.